I'm always visiting and speaking at different e-commerce expos around the country, right? And whenever I get approached by somebody, it's very often the same question that I get from them. It's a question around how do I grow my sales? It's a question about, or an expression of frustration about the fact that somebody's selling online, they've got their website set up, but they're not yet seeing the sales that they're wanting to see, right? And I think that that goes for anybody, no matter what level you're at and how far you've been, how far you've gone down the process, how long you've been in business. Everybody wants more sales, right? But I especially see this with the startup entrepreneurs, people who've just got their website going and they're trying to get traction and they're trying to get sales and they see the odd sale come in here, there, and it gets them excited, but then they don't see anything for a while and they get sad. And I get approached by these guys all the time, guys, ladies, just experiencing the same thing, you know, frustration about low sales and a great desire to grow their sales. So what do I say to these people, right? Well, my first question to them is always the same, exactly the same question. It's, what is your traffic like? And it amazes me how few of them can actually answer that question, right? It's a very straightforward question and you should know the answer to that question. Your website, well, your sales depend on your traffic. So how are you not keeping a close eye on the traffic? Is it going up? Is it going down? How much did you have last week? How did that compare to the week of last month? And how did it compare to last month? Are we going up? Are we going down? Now, it's so important for people to firstly pay close attention to their traffic, especially when starting out. But secondly, it's so important for you to understand how much traffic it takes to start getting sales, right? Because what we need to look at is your conversion rate. So a great conversion rate would be 2 to 3%. So let's say we get 100 visitors, that means we get 2 or 3 sales, right? That's a really good conversion rate. So when somebody's starting out, and when you're starting out, you naturally have less traffic. And when you're starting out, people, they're not looking at the traffic, they're just looking at the sales, right? I know, it's so exciting when that ping comes through, when the little cha-ching comes through on your phone. You get the email with an order and you run around like a madman trying to keep the customer happy because you really want to keep the customer happy so that you bring in more great customers, right? But don't forget about the traffic, because sales are determined by traffic. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that when you're starting out, you're not going to have a conversion rate of 2 or 3%. Not even close to that, I'm sorry to say. You know, the Shopify statistics say that you need 800 visitors on average before you see your first sale. So if you are in a situation where you've got your site live and you haven't seen your sale, you've got 500 visitors and you haven't had a sale yet, well, that's okay. And the key message I want to get across today is don't be too hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up if you're putting in hard work, you're getting traffic on your site and you're not yet seeing those sales. Because as we now know, sales are determined by traffic. But when you're starting out, you need more traffic to get sales because your conversion rate is lower. And there's a few factors included in that. One is brand awareness. People don't really know about your site. So that you might get 1,000 people on your site, but they haven't visited it before. They don't know, there's no customer reviews. And that's definitely an element that's going to lower your conversion rate in the beginning. The only way to get around that is to be in business longer and to grow your brand. Do your marketing, get every single customer that shops with you, give them a great experience so that your brand starts to build and people start to recognize it, so that this element, the low brand recognition, well, that starts to go away. But the other thing when you're starting out and you're seeing low sales conversion, the other thing to keep in mind is that your site may not be optimized for conversion just yet, right? So what are things to think about? Like, is your navigation structured in a way that's going to help customers find what they're looking for as quick as possible? Once they're on a product page, do you answer all their questions? Have you actually thought about what's written there, and does it address the questions that your customers would have? Another thing to consider is the shipping policies. This is a real key element that needs to be super visible on your site. Now, the reason for this is that when customers find something that they like, what's the next question that pops in their mind? Well, how's the shipping going to work? Am I going to pay for this? Is there free shipping? How long is it going to take? Yada, yada, yada. And you need to communicate that. So I'm a big fan of a shipping bar along the top of the site. You know what I'm talking about. It's called an announcement bar. And that's where you can say free shipping over 500 Rand or whatever you have. And then they can click through to read the policies. This kind of stuff helps to increase the conversion rate. It helps to guide the customer to making that purchase. You know, something so simple as the color of your add to cart button. Which color works best? Well, you got to test it out. You got to try different stuff. And these little things all add up to make your conversion rate higher and higher. Now, as your conversion rate grows and your brand awareness grows and your customer base grows, well, your sales start to grow. And then you start to see your conversion rate going from 0.2%, which you might just start out with, growing up to 0.5%, and that's a great growth. Maybe you're going to hit 1%. Now for every 100 customers or 100 visitors that hit your site, you know that you're going to get on average 1 sale. Awesome. Once we know that, let's get more traffic, because traffic gets us sales. So this is what we need to focus on. This is a game. This is e-commerce. This is what we need to focus on. Growing your traffic, growing your conversion rate. That's really it. I could wrap up the whole of e-commerce in that sentence. That's really what you're going to be focusing on. Grow your sales, grow your conversion rate. That's it. That's the simplest form of what e-commerce is and what it takes to be successful. So that's my message to you guys today. If you're sitting in a situation where you're not happy with your sales, maybe you yet to see your first sale at all, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't be too hard on yourself, because it takes time, it takes dedication, and you got to focus on these things that I've been speaking about right now. If you do that right and you keep at it, then those sales will start to come in. And I'll tell you, there's so many people looking for the shortcut, but if there was a shortcut, like an absolute winner of a shortcut, everyone would do it and it would be publicized very widely. The truth is, the quickest way and the shortest cut to reach success is to understand that there is no shortcut and that you need to stick with it. And if you stick with it, that's when you achieve success. And that is the shortcut, to understand that there isn't a shortcut. Does that make sense? Anyway, that's what I've always thought, that's what I always believe in, and that's what's worked for me in the past. So focus on these things, don't be too hard on yourself, and of course, if you want to take your e-commerce business to the next level, well, there's a link below where you can join the waiting list for our mastermind group, and we'll open that up again in the future for you to join. But that's it for me for today. Send your questions in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I look forward to chatting to you guys again.